Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Schillinger, founder of the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend, a rite of passage adventure camp for young men ages 13 to 20 that help them get ready for the challenges of the adult world. And I'm founder of Challenging Teenage Sons, an organization that's devoted to helping parents and their teen sons have more caring and cooperative relationships. And I have to say, I'm really humbled and really grateful to say that a few years ago, our work with families was featured on the CNN show This is Life with Lisa Ling. Welcome to today's podcast. It's called Preventing Your Teen from Withdrawing from You. Recently, I took my family from the West Coast where we live to visit my family on the East Coast. The special occasion was to attend my niece's wedding. And as expected, it was wonderful and joyful. I experienced lots of love and lots of support, which I love to give to my family and I love to get from my family. And I'm a hugger and a kisser. So I was in hugging heaven. It was great. It was really great. What I was most looking forward to was seeing my nephews and nieces and connecting with them. Spending quality time with them left me with a deep satisfaction, knowing that the next generation of Schillingers are aware of their responsibility to stay connected to their relatives. I felt so much joy and satisfaction watching them all, including my two adult children, interacting playfully and seriously. Since I hardly ever have time to read, and since I had a long plane ride, I decided to bring one of my favorite books that I read many years ago in the early part of my family mentoring career. I was curious to see what I underlined in the book back then and how it related to what I am now teaching parents. The book is called Hold On to Your Kids by Gordon Neufeld and Gabor Mate. The main point of their book was that parents need to remain attached to their children. Otherwise, their children will become more attached to their peers. This book was written 18 years ago in the early stages of the era of digital dominance and media mania, which, as you all know, has taken over our society. As I was reading the book, I was impressed with the ability of the authors to predict the main problem that parents are facing now, today, which is children tend to be more attached to their friends and to their devices than to their parents. This is painful, and it's true. The conclusion of the book states that when children have a safe and secure attachment to their parents, the natural instinct of their children will be to think and do the right things. This has been exactly my conclusion for my work with families all these years later, so I appreciated that these two insightful authors confirmed my current viewpoint. And their book was written at a time when I was creating my method for mentoring families called The Right Way for Family Unity. So reading this book was a walk down memory lane. Right in my method is spelled with all capital letters, R-I-G-H-T, and it stands for the virtues of respect, intelligence, grace, humor, and truth. The Right Way for Family Unity method recognizes that there is no one right way for parents to have a successful marriage, a healthy lifestyle, a cooperative divorce, or raise resilient, happy children. However, unless a home has a clear path or way to navigate the challenges of family life, most everyone is likely to suffer from chronic anxiety, causing conflict, competition, and alienation. So, over 25 years of mentoring, I've used these 5 virtues to guide parents on their journey with a clear roadmap that takes them to their desired destination. A calmer home with a relationship to their son that enjoys better communication, more cooperation, and greater respect. I definitely want to say that right does not stand for any political affiliation or imply that this is the only right way. These 5 virtues, respect, intelligence, grace, humor, and truth, guides parents to overcome the conflicts with their teen because it challenges their teen. Not I mean a confrontational way. I mean, it activates their ability to discover, develop, and master the values they're going to need in order to successfully launch into the adult world. And I created this method because I needed something to follow in my own home. I needed a path to walk as I fathered my two teens, Becca and Gabe. Plus, I saw so many other parents struggling with something families have been naturally doing as a species for hundreds of thousands of years, which is successfully raising children. Back in those early days of my method, I spent a brief period of time with a small tribe in Africa, and I saw firsthand that the adults were using the same values to raise all the children. In our modern world of families, we're all basically detached from one another. We all live in the same house, and yet we're isolated, and we're mostly on our devices. It's no secret. There's more obstacles than ever raising teens, and most of these obstacles come in the form of digital distractions. It's likely that your teen, as he gets older or she gets older, is probably becoming more withdrawn from you. And the main reason is because they're getting hypnotized into a world that causes them to excessively seek pleasure and to consistently avoid pain. Constant participation and instant gratification that devices create is diminishing the natural biological drive of our teens to want to successfully launch into their world. They just don't seem interested in getting into the adult world. They're basically just feeling it. And I'm telling this because each one of the right virtues has the sole objective of helping parents remain attached to their teens in a healthy and efficient way. And by doing so, parents will then have an opportunity to use their authority and their influence with much greater success. So I use this method as a way to show parents how to stay attached to their teens by regaining their trust, all without anxiety, nagging, or yelling. And believe me, I've made every possible mistake parenting my own teen children. My old school of parenting wasn't working back in the day. It worked for my parents on me, but it wasn't working for my children. By the time Gabe was a teenager, he was getting involved in alcohol, drugs, which I didn't even know at first because I was so busy working. He could have been an accomplished high school student, really, but he chose to hang out with friends, play video games, watch TV, listen to music. And I loved Gabe more than anything in the world back then, as I still do now. But back in the day, I was contributing to the suffering that he was already experiencing in his transition from the comfort zone of boyhood to the unstable territory of young adulthood. It was like Gabe was on a speedboat on a lake, moving further away from the shore where I was standing next to a canoe with only one paddle. I knew Gabe loved me, and being rejected by him was really painful. In the year 2000, I started the Young Men's Ultimate Weekend in large part to improve my relationship with my son. And that's when I created the family mentoring program so that all of our mentors there were all teaching the same principles and practices. And then, of course, I began teaching it to parents. Now, since that back in the day time, Gabe and I have enjoyed the closest relationship a father and son can have. He's 40 years old. He has a successful company with many employees. His relationship with his romantic partner of 12 years is beautiful. And his relationship with his sister, his mom, and me is one of a deep, caring, and deep connection. So I want to wind down by saying a few things. I've been mentoring families for 25 years. Here's what I know. Parents and their children instinctually know how to cooperatively share their physical skills, mental wisdom, emotional resilience, and their material goods together. For hundreds of thousands of years, families were good at working together. The expression we use now, "we got this," used to be true for families back in the day. Now we're losing our natural instinct to have happy and resilient families. So the way to stay attached to your children is to have a way or a path, or you may find that your children are being led astray. and not achieving their true potential. I guess I would say my main point to parents is this: every parent craves to have a loving and caring relationship with their children for their entire lives. Very few things, really, if anything, are more rewarding than being a parent who's always connected to their kids in the healthiest and happiest of ways. I was having a hard time raising teenagers like you may be now. I created this method because I needed it, and I knew there were other parents who needed it as well. And it's worked. It's worked for me, and it's worked for so many families that I've worked with over the past 25 years. So I want to end with this little phrase. This is something I always remind parents and teens that I mentor. Here's the phrase: it's never too late to move your family in the right direction. And by that, I mean when parents and their teens have a way, they will always stay bonded. They will always stay attached. Yes, they're going to have their peers. Yes, there's going to be social media. Yes, they're going to be tempted to be withdrawing away from you. And they will partly. And they'll know that you're always there, and they're going to be way more likely to seek your mentorship when they need it.